righty, a very good afternoon. It's 1:30 this winning Wednesday. You are welcome to the International Women's Day Radio Dialogue. Now, what we do every 8th of March each year is to ensure that we are bringing this year's theme or each year's theme to the fore, dissecting it and analyzing it from the eyes of the everyday woman. This year, I am excited about my panelists. I ensure that I identify women from, different walks of life to just ensure that we're giving a balanced view to the topic. We have an extra guest in the studio, by the way. You just might be hearing his voice from time to time. So on my left, I have with us Mrs. Uche Debra, who is a trader. Good afternoon, Mrs. Debra Uche.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm glad that you were able to make it here today.
Thank you.
And you came with our little guest. What's his name?
Perez Uche.
Perez Uche.
Yes,
all right. And right in front of me, we have entrepreneur, entertainer, journalist, Kelechi Ohia, also known as Kel. K to the E to the L.
Hi, Lagos. How's it going? Thank you for having me here today. Ify.
Glad to have you here, Kel. Super excited about it. Okay, so just getting into it, right? Today's topic, of course, focusing on this year's theme is embracing equity. So I'm going to break it down a little bit because a lot of times when we talk about equity, sometimes people interchange the words equity, equality, whereas they don't mean the same thing. They're actually not synonymous. Yes, they are very important when we talk about inclusivity, but they mean different things. I'm going to explain it to you. When we talk about equality, we're talking about access to equal opportunities. So economic opportunities for all genders. It's not just limited to one person. Everyone has equal opportunity, and that is equality. Now, equity is more unique. It's more targeted. Equity is actually identifying the differences in people and then attending to those differences in order to get an equal outcome. So it identifies that there are individuals that might be coming from different socioeconomic statuses, different walks of life. And because of that, it means that these individuals might have, they may have had different opportunities that may not have allowed them be at par. So there are people who might come from a wealthier status. There are people that might come from the lower echelon. Right? There are people that have come from, a completely different background. Now, because of these unique factors, it sort of puts them on an unequal level playing field. So it's not a level playing field. And so for equity identifies this and now decides to address those differences by providing, what that individual might need in order to create a level playing field for all parties. So equity, equality, they are very important when it comes to inclusivity, right? But they're not the same. So this year's theme is about equity, right? It's about understanding that there are differences in people. So when we are trying to create equal opportunity for everyone, we also have to identify that even in that equal opportunity that we're trying to create, people might still be in an uneven playing field to actually to be able to get the best out of those equal opportunities. So we need to identify where those factors play a role in creating those differences and addressing them. So that's really, I try to break it down as best I could to just ensure that we have like a clear understanding. And of course, when we have this conversation, it's not just limited particularly to equity, because at the end of the day, it's International Women's Day. We're talking about equality. And remember, it's not just focused on women. Now, yes, women are more marginalized, right? And because of that, a lot of times when there is a particular party or a group of people that are more marginalized, of course, more attention is drawn towards those people. But it doesn't mean that the benefit is not for all. The benefit is for all. So it's not just limited to equity, and it's also it's not limited to just the female gender. So I was very particular about picking my panel because, like I always mention, I love to see things, and I love the world to see things from the eyes of the everyday Nigerian woman. Here with me, Mrs. Uche, she is a trader, and I want to see things from a perspective. And of course, with Kel being an entrepreneur, being an entertainer, being in the media industry as well, I want to see things from her perspective. So, Mrs. Uche, with being a trader in Nigeria as a woman, in general, I just want to see if you have ever experienced any form of inequality. Are there times in, when you're carrying out your business as a female trader, when you feel like you're being treated different from your male counterparts? Because I'm sure it's not just only in your area. It's not only women that are trading. There are men that are trading. So from your experience, I want to know if you've ever really experienced those differences, and, tell us a story. Tell us that particular day that stood out for you where you realize that, the reason why this thing is happening is because I'm a woman, right? That this would not have happened to another man.
Yes. Thank you very much. Like the place I'm selling, I'm in the bus stop selling snacks, minerals, all those things. As a woman, when I came out, men's are few there. There are men's there because there is a company that is with me there.
Okay.
So they are full of men, people that are married or people are not single. So maybe they are seeing me as a woman that's selling something there. Let me just say, sometimes they will just open my cooler, taking snack, mineral, water, bottled water, be asking them money. As a woman, they will open their eyes, be say, I'll give you now, I'll give you now, I'll give you now. So I'll be writing their names on my book, There's a particular day, one man just be taking my things, I'll be writing them. So whenever I'm seeing him, asking him the money for the things
snacks
that he take, I'm coming. Go and sit down, dear. Go and sit down.
Wow.
And how much is that you're disturbing my life? How much is that disturbing? So I feel pain. I feel bad. I say, okay, is it because he's the man? I cannot fight him as a man is. I cannot fight him because I'm a woman or what? Okay. One day I said, okay, no, I can't stand like this. So because after doing all those things, giving them credit online, I went inside. So what's the meaning of coming outside, be selling the money? Maybe you don't know what I borrow it to sell. So that day I was quarrel with him. Everybody everywhere was gathered asking me, how far, what happened? I'm explaining everything to them. After explaining everything to them, they say no. They mention him, say that I pay that woman the money. So the thing pay me that day, and the man as he's paying me, he refused to be answering me. Whenever I greet him, he will not answer me but inside me, I feel bad. I continue. I say, no, I will not greet him. Because if I'm greeting him, he will not respond, and let me not be greeting him. But inside me, I say, no, that is not life. So I started greeting him. It's this year that I started buying something.
Again.
What happened to almost 2 years now?
Wow.
It's this year I started buying something, taking something from my hand again. So as a woman, some certain things be happen to you as a trader we are. You will feel, is it because I'm a woman? But they make me to open eyes. Yes, they make me to open eyes. Even I'm a woman, I cannot allow such things to be happen to me. So whenever, even now, they're asking me, your own is too much. Why are you doing like this? Why this? They say, it's you people that open my eyes. So I can't take it again.
Wow, Mrs. Uche, thank you very much for that story. And with Kel, can you relate to this? Yes, I understand you're not a trader, but with what she has mentioned is she was being mistreated and maltreated, possibly because she was a woman, and that this may not have happened if it was another male trader that this said customer was interfacing with. So with you in your line of work, in your field of work as an entrepreneur as well as a media personality, would you say that you have experienced something similar to this?
Not similar to that, but basically being judged on the fact that I'm a woman. You know, when I try to be assertive, to put my foot down and say, no, this is what I want, this is how things should be done, I get called emotional. Oh, you're acting like a woman, why are you being so emotional, and all of that. And I'm saying, no, I'm not being emotional. I'm simply demanding that things, should be done the proper way. Because I could say one thing to a certain person like 5,000 times, but one man comes, says the exact same thing just once. It's like, oh yes, Kel, it's true. So I was thinking that we should. I'm like, but I've been saying this exact same thing to you. So what did this person say that was different that suddenly made you decide to just change your mind? So it actually does annoy me that sometimes it feels like if I want to be heard, I have to get the backing of a man. And I've experienced it not just with me, but with, other women too as well. I was working on a project with one of my fellow artists, and she was having so much trouble with this particular person. But once she asked a man to step in, the conversation immediately just changed. And it's like, so what exactly is your problem?
Wow. And it's interesting that, with what both of you have said, and there is an underlying thread that this sometimes makes you see the need. I don't know if I should say see the need or want to either step into the shoes of, expressing levels of masculinity or having that masculine presence around just so that you could be heard. Because with Mrs. Uche, she has her own description is I've opened my eye now, that type of thing, something that she would not have done previously. So maybe being a bit more aggressive and just having to maybe raise her voice, something that she would not have done on a normal. She's had to get to that place where she knows that for me to be heard and for me to be treated justly and fairly, I have to act in this way. Whereas with you is you probably need to get the backing of a man. If it's a case where you didn't have the backing of a man, you probably might have to act the way a male counterpart would have acted, just so that you could have been heard. And that's very interesting. If you're listening, please feel free to join the conversation because, with this panel session, you're also a part of it. If you're a woman as well, I want to know what your experience has been like. Are there specific things that you've experienced where you know that this is possibly because you are a woman? And what did you do about it? The phone lines to call 0809 234 5913 0809 222 0913 01515 0913 01515 1913. All right, when we talk about equity and equality in general, there are a lot of things that could have been addressed at the foundational stages of one's life when they're children. Because a lot of things that we see today are as a result of how we were brought up. And we take those behaviors into the business space. We take it into where we trade and just live life or do life in general. Now, if we are taking it to this foundational home stage where there's a saying that goes, if you know better, you do better. If we want to, advise women who are raising kids, because, you're with your son right here, women who are raising kids, both men and women or boys and girls, with equity talks about the difference, right? So equity identifies that a man and a woman, we're not the same. There are differences, right, in terms of our strengths, our physical strengths and all that. But it doesn't mean that one is any less of a human being than the other, right? So when we are addressing things from, a foundational stage where we are teaching or grooming or training our children, and I want to know from your own perspective, with your experience, because when you experience things, you look at the future and you say, oh, I will make sure maybe this doesn't happen to my child. It doesn't happen to my son. It doesn't happen to my daughter. Now, Mrs. Uche, I want to know, how are you going to raise your son differently to make sure that in future, right, he is not in a position where he's probably acting like that man, and maybe another woman is not in your position where she's being treated in that manner? I want to know, is there anything that you're doing differently with raising your child that is different from what you experienced when your parents were raising you?
Thank you very much. I have 4 kids now. So this is the last one by God's grace. So now I'm training them. I'm not separating any maybe you are a man or you are a boy, you are a girl. Let me just say it like that. Even my first child is about to 8 years this year. I'm always giving him work more than the girl that following him.
Okay.
The reason is why I'm experienced much when I was my age like that. I'm not staying with my mother. I'm staying with my auntie. And that one was the way they are pampering their children. This is a man. He cannot wash plates. He cannot wash. He cannot do. He cannot sweep house. He cannot do this. But you will see other family, other girl. You will see them washing plates, washing others. But that one, they cannot. So, but when I'm looking at it as I'm growing to I marry, I say, some men you are seeing them cooking food and doing other things. But when in base of women, he said this is only women can do all things, washing plates, washing this, that, and me, I'm thinking it will affect the man because I've noticed something as I marry now.
Okay.
Let me use my husband as an example. Like my husband now, for him to assist me in homework, no. He cannot. Are you getting me? It's like the load is too much. When the first time I put my child, the first issue. So I'm the one washing, cooking, nursing the baby, everything in his own home to go work and come back, serve food, I eat. I work. First child, second child, no. I said I can't bear this. Let me separate the work. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
So as my own child now, as the first man I put bed, I'm sharing the work so that don't let him not, because now he's 7 years, about 8 years. He's telling me, mommy, it's man, it's woman that washing plate, it's woman that sweeping house, it's woman that is. I said, no, don't put that one in your mind. What a man, a woman, you can do everything and share it, so that it will be easy for you. Even when you have not married, you are a single, you are living on your own house. Your house will not be dirty. You will not eat food and be leaving it outside to somebody to come and washing it for you. Are you getting me? So I share the work equal. You will sweep the room. I'm always giving that girl sweep the room, and now I will sweep it back. Oh yeah, go and wash plates. Are you getting?
Yes.
So I go and I will bring my belt, so I will flog you. You will go and pack it and wash. Even this morning, I said I go and wash plate before you go school. But I know I will assist him.
Of course.
Do you understand? Because now men are putting that work is only women can do homework. Them they cannot do it. You know, so when you are training a child, whatever you are doing, they are watching you.
Of course.
Yes.
Whatever you are saying, they are hearing you.
Yes.
And they are putting it in their memory. It will be recorded for them. That even when their father is talking, go and wash this clothes from you, go and do this. I think it's only women can do all the home work. So I'm sharing it between. It's 2 girls, 2 boys. So I'm sharing it. The other one is small. So I'm sharing it, 2 of them. You are the one to do this. You are the one to do this. Go and do it.
Yeah.
I will cross leg be watching them. Are you getting?
Yes.
Yes.
So the work is not for only women.
Yes.
Man, boy, you can do it. You can cook.
I like that.
So the woman, even when you reach the age, maybe you're tired, maybe if I go home now, maybe I say, when you reach 8, 10 years now, you start cooking. You say, mommy. I say, yes. Women can cook in 10 years. You say, what am I going to be cooking? I say, you can boil white rice. When I do stew, you can boil white rice. You Indomie you like very well. You can cook it by yourself. I will on gas for you so that the work will be easy.
Yes.
Don't base it on only women can do work. Even in things of business, this is business for men, this is business for women. No, everything is for equal.
For both genders. Thank you very much for that's very interesting. Now, just taking it into the corporate world, for instance, Kel, right? Because when we talk about equity, we understand that there was a period where women, and till now, that I won't call it a fight. I believe that we were able to fight for it, and then we were able to progress to a large extent where there are some countries and even some organizations in Nigeria that believe in pay parity, for instance.
Yes.
There was a time where the same job that will be done by both men and women, there used to be a huge gap between what they were paid. You know, there was a mentality that, oh, well, this man, he has a wife, he has kids, so he has more responsibility, so he should be paid more. Whereas the woman, you will get married and you will be a man's responsibility, so why should we be paying you more? You know, that was a mentality that was deeply ingrained in our system. But I believe that to a large extent, we have developed past that. However, there are other areas in the corporate world, for instance, when it comes to, you know, the maternity policies that they might have. There's still a divide in those sorts of conversations where there are people who argue that, but if you're fighting for pay parity, right? Where you're saying a man and a woman should be paid the same for doing the same work, but men don't get pregnant where they have to leave the office for the duration that the woman leaves the office, right? Because we have to take into context maternity leave, and it's completely different from your regular annual leave, right? Exactly. And so there are people who say, oh, you know what? But if we're talking about that, well, if the man maybe happened to have like some biological process that will let him stay away from work for a particular period of time, then we'll see that, okay, things are equal. So if you say, okay, let's all be paid the same, then we understand. But then if a case where she goes on maternity leave, she's not working during that time, and you're still asking that she gets paid the same amount that this man is getting paid who does not leave for maternity leave, is that being fair? So in this conversation of equity, I want to ask you, Kel, in that situation, you know, how do you balance that with this conversation of equity that identifies differences?
A part of me is saying he who works should get paid, he who does not work should not get paid. But then again, I understand it. It's biology. You know, if women had the choice of taking just 1 week off to have a baby and come back to work, I know most women would take it. You know, but unfortunately, that isn't the reality now. What I believe is that generally people should be paid on their competency, you know, and the addition that they bring to whatever company it is that they work for. Now, if you know that this person is an invaluable member of your team, even if it's a man who says, you know what, I just want to go on 2 weeks paid leave, you would happily pay for it, because you know that the work that this person is bringing to the table is actually valuable, and you would gladly even pay double for it if you could. So at the end of the day, we cannot rearrange or recreate when it comes to biology. You know, it is what it is. But I believe that the most important question is, when this woman is at work, does she deliver? Yes, she does. Okay, she needs some time off to go be a mother and come back. And the fun thing is that even some women, even when they're on maternity leave, they're still working. They're still sending emails. They're still sending presentations. They might not physically be in the office, but they're still contributing towards the office. So I believe that as long as that person is contributing positively, you know, and has a valuable impact on your company, I believe that it shouldn't even be a discussion. Plus, some companies have also introduced paternity leave as well.
Exactly.
So perhaps the men could fight for their own paternity leave, you know, if it so suits them.
Yeah.
So I believe that it shouldn't be a conversation as long as the said individual is delivering on their deliverables.
And I like that, you know, you also mentioned the paternity leave, because I know that in Nigeria, the Nigerian civil servants right now, the federal government had approved 14-day paternity leave for the men. And, you know, it's important for different reasons. The first reason is, of course, you know, giving the men the opportunity as well to be able to have that time to, you know, build that bond and experience the birth and the growth of that child during the early stages. Another reason is to ensure that you're also helping out your wife, who might not be working in your own business, who might have her own different organization that she's working with. But what it does is that it takes away pressure from her in order for it not to overstifle her career growth.
Yes.
Because you see that a lot of women have to take time off, of course, during that period where they have to see to it that their child is doing well, they're breastfeeding and all that. There are women who choose to take the entire maternity leave. There are some women that are like, just give me so and so number of days, and what, I want to be back to work as quickly as possible. They have a choice to do that. Now, some women have the choice to do that because they have an active partner, or they have the opportunity to have people around them who can help. You know how they say it takes a village, right? So acknowledging that what you're doing, or this opportunity that you're giving to men, it also does affect the woman that is in question, because it enables that career progress, that career growth for her, where she doesn't have to see that she gives up a specific number of years because she needs to stay there, to focus on her child, right, for that period, because it gives the man the opportunity. I want to know as well, Kel, are there other areas, aside from this paternity policy, or maternity leave policy, or paternity leave policy, are there other areas in the workplace, especially in the corporate world, where equity needs to be embraced more? So we've spoken about the policy, we've spoken about the pay gap, pay parity. Is there any other area?
I think that first of all, when you have a woman in the workplace, don't just look at her as a woman in the workplace. Look at her as a worker. Because most times in most organizations, when you start to make that distinction between male and female, there's that unfettered bias to already treat them differently, especially when it comes to things like basic communication. Like I mentioned earlier on, if a woman is assertive, they say she's being emotional, or they even call her the B word. Meanwhile, if a man acts the same, they're like, oh yes, that's a man being a man. Lead your team the strong way. But if the woman does it, she's called all sorts. So I believe that, when it comes to work, people need to be identified and appreciated by the work that they do, not by whether they are male or female. Because at the end of the day, if you keep looking at people as, na man, na woman, you're not really going to appreciate what it is that they're bringing to the table. So I would say that, first things first, is this person a hard worker, regardless of whether they are male or female? Yes, they are. Is this person not a hard worker? No, they are not. Judge people based off of the work that they've come to do in your organization, not based off of the fact that they are male or female.
In a case of recruitment, and I want to know this, right? And Mrs. Uche, I would like for you to join this conversation. When you are a business owner, you're focused on profitability, especially if you're a capitalist. So you're focused on profitability. You want to make profit. They always say no emotions in business. Yeah. Business is business. You work hard. If you're here to do the job, you do the job. In terms of recruitment, there are people that sometimes consider that, if I hire a woman for this role, it means that I have to also consider that this woman will possibly get married at a point, possibly get a child, and this might bring certain gaps in the workflow. And then on the other hand, you look that, but you know what, if I hire a man, hardly would a man go off and say, oh, I'm going for such and such reason. They will probably take their regular leave, right? And if we even want to give them paternity leave, it's not even going to be as much as we will give women. And then the organization decides to go with more men. What do you think about it? Do you think that is a fair decision that they're making, since they're looking to maximize profits and they don't want any situation where their business is put on hold because they happen to have more women who may need more time off than men? Or do you think that bias is something that needs to be addressed? And I need you to be honest, because we're having very honest conversations, right? So I need you to be honest, because these are some of the issues that individuals bring up when we're talking about inclusivity, when we're talking about the gender thing, the male, female, work policies that organizations may have in in their different businesses. So Madam Uche, what do you think? If a man decides, or if an organization, they decide, you know what, we don't really want women because, you know, they will be leaving every 9 months or something. So what do you think about that?
For me to say that to employ women in your office or your working place than man. No differences. But if you say because the woman will go leave, that's why you don't want to employ him. Have me to say because of the benefit you are getting. Let me employ man because the man cannot go leave. For me, on my own experiences or what?
Yes.
If I'm a woman, I would likely to employ woman like me because she would understand me very well because we are a woman.
Yes.
Are you getting me? So in that time of maybe you are in time of leave, maternity leave, I will enjoy it. Are you getting? I will not say because benefits I'm getting, let me find man. The reason is that when you employ a man, let me use that my own business.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
When you employ a man in business, really, he will be hardworking as a man.
Yes.
If it's a thing to carry, it's heavy.
Yes.
You will look at him as a man, you go and carry it.
Yes.
Are you getting? But in the other hand, if that man is growing, sometimes because you are a woman paying him, you'll be showing shoulder. I'm a man. I'm a man. Are you getting? So, but a woman, when you employ a woman like you, two of you understanding each other. I'm a woman. In that time of leave, a maternity leave, for me, on my own experience, I will say, okay, I will enjoy it. Maybe in that moment, I will find another person to assist me in that time. Maybe when you come back, I will welcome you back. The other one will go. Are you getting?
Yes.
But because of benefits I'm getting, let me not say because of benefits, I will not employ a woman because of the maternity leave that is going in so time or so months. And how many months? It's not 3 months. Some say it's 2 months. Some is 3 months. I will enjoy it as a woman like me. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
But it's a man. There is a time a man will reach. He will put eye on you. He will show that he's a man. Because you know that if you say you employ two of them, man and woman, because that woman is not around again, he will be showing his own. But because that one is a woman, you understand as a woman each other.
Yeah.
You understand me?
All right. Thank you very much. Kel, what are your thoughts about that as well? Do you think that it's fair enough if they decide, you know what, I want more men than women in my organization because of these factors that I know will arise or may arise at some point?
A part of me is saying, you know what, yeah, it's easier to gamble with. But then another part of me is saying, look, that really would not be fair. Like, would I want to be judged based off of the fact that there are things in my life that I can or cannot control? And so I would look at it this way. Anything can happen to anybody. You know, somebody could fall gravely ill, could be out of work for a month or so. Somebody could have an accident.
Yes.
Like, these things happen. And I would think with childbirth, it's even, quote unquote, easier to plan around it because, you know, okay, once a woman gets pregnant, a woman is pregnant for 9 months. For some women, from the 5th or 6th month, they stop working. You know, if they don't have any complications or anything. And so, you know, you can, okay, this woman is pregnant now. She's going to give birth now. This is the time she's going to go on leave. So whatever work and things we need her to do, we need to make sure that she pushes everything off of her table before then, which I think is even easier to work with than with some sort of accident that just came up, you know, or some sort of illness or some sort of emergency that just came up and you have no way to plan around it or to plan for it. So I think that it shouldn't be an excuse. Yes, the woman will be gone, but just ensure that she gets everything off of her table and she transfers or hands over to someone else till she comes back to work. So I don't think it's something that, you know, should drive your reason for not hiring women. Because like I said, competence is competence. You know, you can't what's it called, underpay for competence.
Yes.
If somebody is good at what they do, they are good at what they do. That's why you have celebrities that they pay, you know, from 10M upwards. They have the one they pay from 5M. They have the one they pay from 1M.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, if you are bringing that invaluable contribution to the company, people will pay any and everything to keep you.
Yes.
So that's my take on it.
That's interesting. And, you know, just to add to that, at the end of the day, I feel like equity is fairness, right? Because you are considering the uniqueness of this individual, right? But you're also considering the competence in making a decision whether this person is a good enough fit. And when it comes to just having that inclusivity, it gives you a much wider pool of talent to pick from. Right? Because women are talented, men are talented. Yes. And if you're looking for a way to move your business forward, isn't the best thing to do to open up the pool that is large enough so that you'll be able to pick the best of the best? I feel like if people decide that, and at the end of the day, it's a decision for them because it's their business, right? However, on the other hand, these are some of the laws that we need to be encouraging as well to ensure that there is a specific percentage for minority groups to be represented in different organizations, right? But if you are deciding to recruit and you are looking for the best of the best, the smartest thing for you to do is to open up the pool of people and then pick from it, which would include men and women. Yeah. I believe it's a lazy way of doing business where you are just looking for the easiest way out. It's a lazy way and it's very limiting. It's very, very limiting because everyone has a uniqueness. And what if the uniqueness that and the value that you seek to cause your business to stand out is in a woman? What then happens?
Yeah.
You're limiting yourself.
Yeah.
However, if you've decided that you want to do the right thing, you want to ensure that you're being guarded by equity and inclusivity, you will take out time to identify what really is equity or how best can I include equity in my decision making that will profit me the best, as opposed to just at that moment not even seeking the best way to identify the areas of inclusivity or the areas of equity that you need to consider when you are running a business. I believe so. And this is why these conversations need to be had, right? At the end of the day, equity and the conversation about equality, it's not like we're trying to force it down people's throats, right? Because sometimes when people hear it, it's just like a pushback. When women come out and talk about equality, it just automatically puts some people in the defensive. Yes. Like you're supposed to be fighting, and what is this conversation again about women this, women that? No. What it is that we are trying to enlighten people to understand the effect of this, because the truth is, if you decide to not include equity, it has its negative effects. If you're constantly marginalizing a particular group, it has its negative effect. It has its negative effects on society as a whole, and it also has a negative effect on even your business, based on what I did say, where you're limiting yourself. Because when you open up the pool, it means that you are opening up the possibilities of even more progress, because you're seeking talent in both men and women, right? So it has its negatives if you decide that this equity, equality, inclusivity is not your business. It does have its negatives. Now, just speaking about teaching people, I want to know, Madam Uche, because you're still a trader, there's a possibility that this thing that you had experienced can still happen again. But at the end of the day, you know, since we are getting to know better, it will be best for us to also teach the people around. You know how they say, teach people the way you want them to treat you. Sometimes people might treat you based on their ignorance, and it's up to you to decide to accept it or not. It's up to you to also teach them with love and say, oh no, this is not what to do. However, this is the right way to go about it. So, Madam Uche, with you in still being a trader, how do you teach either the men or the women who might have this mindset about other women? Because there are some women that do that as well. When we talk about biases, these biases are not just limited to, it's the way men see women. There are some women that see other women in that manner as well.
Very
right?
true.
There's some women that see other women in that manner, unfortunately. So how best, Madam Uche, do you teach other men or other male customers? Is this something you will just keep enduring? Or will you tell them, oh, no, don't talk this way. Oh, it's going to be nice for you to treat, maybe you can see another male customer treating a female trader like you, in that way or in that manner that you had experienced. How do you teach your fellow male traders or customers how best to treat their fellow women or other women? I beg your pardon.
Thank you very much. The way, according to the experience that I have before, it make me to learn much.
Okay.
Are you getting me? So the way they treat me, that I have experience on it, if I see it in another woman business or what, or the action or whatever they are doing, so I would tell them that if you are taking an action or you want to fight the person because you are a man or you are a woman, I'll make them to understand it's not like that.
Yeah.
Are you getting me? It's because of money issue. You buy, you do not pay. I'll make them to know this is the way to collect that money. Continue reminding that person. If it reach a time the person said that he don't want to pay, maybe the person that know that person. You go and report to say, see, with good manner, not in fighting. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
In good manner. Because when you fight, they will be knowing you that this woman always fighting or this man always fighting. Are you getting me? So you will endure, be using good manner, because when you are fighting, it make affecting your business too.
Yeah.
That woman always fighting, or that man is always fighting. If you hold him 1 naira or hold her 1 naira, you will not enjoy it. So tomorrow you come and fight with you.
Yes.
Are you getting me? And you will not be having more customer on it. So what you will do, you will endure and continue reminding that person, sir, ma, you are holding me. Okay, yes, I know. I will pay you. Do you understand? But when you say, let me go to fight or what? No. Fight cannot solve the problem. And the thing will affect your business you are doing. Are you getting
Yes.
me? Because I have told you before that men fool around me. So they make me to learn more. Are you getting me?
Yes.
I will be seeing them, they are my friend.
Yes.
Are you getting me? Because I'm Igbo. Some of them Igbo, some of them Yoruba. So I'm seeing them, all of us are friends. Are you getting me?
Yes.
So now, what shocked me, a man said that, this woman, you're a good woman. I said, what did I do to you that I'm a good woman? He said, your neighbor, he can't take pure water, step out without holding you. Are you getting? But you will take pure water you will keep quiet. But later you will come and ask that money, sir, so day, so time, you took something.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot to give you money. Take.
Yes.
Whether a man or woman. So you will not begin to worry with anybody. Thing will affect you, affect your business, affect in any angle. There you are.
Wow, thank you very much for that one. And Kel, what about you? How best do you, because I know you have male friends, you also have a brother as well. So how best do you teach? And even women, because like I mentioned, these biases are not just expressed by men. There are women as well.
Supported by women too.
Exactly. So how best do you teach? Because it's not a fight. It's not a fight. And the more it comes as if it's a fight, the more, and especially when you're trying to teach older people, you're trying to help, or it just always seems like you're trying to attack. But so how best do you, and in what manner do you teach others how best to act in terms of equity, equality, inclusivity?
It's funny that you mentioned my brother, because I just remembered an incident that happened when we were younger. my mom and I, I've forgotten where we went to. So my brother was at home and she was like, okay, there's stew, boil yam, and eat. We get back home. Have you eaten? No, I just ate bread. Are you hungry? Yes. So why didn't you boil yam? I don't know how to. And my mother looked at him and I looked at her like, They're always pulling me to the kitchen. You see your son now? You see your son?
Oh my God.
She was appalled. She was like, you don't know how to boil yam. My God. And then from that day, she made sure that he was always in the kitchen. Now you might say, people are always talking about cooking and men and women. But let me tell you, it's a survival skill.
Absolutely.
Every human being should know how to fend for themselves, because you don't want to raise a child who goes into university and can't eat if they can't buy food from outside. It doesn't make any sense. So I would say charity begins from home. You have to start to ensure that as a new parent, you're kicking against those biases. It's very, very important, because like Mrs. Uche said, your children are watching everything that you are doing. They are soaking it up. Whatever you're doing, they're putting in that back of their minds that, okay, this is how my mother did this. This is how my father did this. This is how we were raised. So for those who I would speak to my people in my age bracket who have kids now, to let them know that, look, this thing, it's hard. It's easy to just speak on it, but it's harder to do. So why not just ensure that from when your children are young, you're already pushing away those different biases from them, even when it comes to basic work at home. And then for those who I'm trying to educate, it's first of all, don't be emotional about it.
Okay.
Because when you start being emotional on topics, you tend to lose the logical aspect which you're trying to drive home, especially if you're talking to a man, because men respond more to logic. So I would say don't be emotional about it. Speak to them logically, calmly, and let them see that, look, this thing doesn't just affect you as a woman. It will affect them because they have sisters, they have a mother, they might have daughters someday. And then also let the women know that, look, this behavior, that you think is normal is actually very damaging, because it's worse when it comes from you as a woman who is supposed to be speaking on and championing, this agenda for women. You're there siding with the men because you don't want to be seen as, a radical feminist or whatever. Because at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're doing will affect you as well. All the women who fought for women's rights back in the day, they could have crossed their hands and said, I'm not on this earth forever. Let me just manage.
Yes.
But look at what the little that they did, how it turned into such a huge deal for women to be able to vote, for women to be able to own property. Because back in the day, women could not own property.
For women to be able to work in the
women to be able to be seen as human beings. So as a woman, you might think, it's all just banter, it's all just social media, I'm just, having fun on social media, but it's not. Because people are watching you, people are listening to you. You might think you don't even have such a huge circle of influence, but the one or two people who look at you and listen to you will then in turn influence two other people who will influence two other people. So just remember that whatever it is that you're doing not just for yourself, but you're also doing for the generation to come. That's what I would tell everybody when it comes to equity and equality.
All right. Please feel free to join the conversation. I have been seeing that the phone lines are blowing up. I apologize. You could call us and join the conversation. What are your thoughts about all that has been said so far? 0809 234 5913 0809 222 0913 01515 0913 015151913. You can send a tweet at Lagos Talks 913 using the hashtag IWD2023. Lagos Talks, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Paula.
No, this is Ife, Kel, and Mrs. Uche.
I'm Paula.
No, Paula isn't here.
Oh, I thought Paula was there.
No,
Sorry.
she isn't.
I've been in and out because I've been jumping from meetings.
All right.
Programs yeah, it's a happy International Women's Day to all of you ladies, wonderful ladies there. And I have three ladies, my house, that's my own kids. I talk of my sisters, 4 of them, my wife, and my little girl who is going to be an adult very soon too, the baby of the house. So I say happy International Women's Day to them. And I like the theme this year, embrace equity. And I like what Kel said just now when he said the brother said, "Oh, I'll boy yam." I don't know how to boy yam. Not in my house. Not in my house. You must know how. Short and simple. In fact, it got to a point that my son in school, the school he was attending there, one of the private universities, his colleagues, they couldn't make anything. And just he was making a queue out of cooking indomie for them at night.
Wow.
Indomie for them and
Wow.
make a queue. And he was making money for me. So, for the ladies, I'll say one thing. Equity is different from equality. Any person who does not understand that needs to go back and look at his dictionary and check what's the meaning. And for that, you will understand that when you embrace it, that means treat the woman the way you want to be treated. That means the things you think you have absolute right to do it, right? Remember, the woman, because of her equality to you, also have the same right to do them. But by the time you put equity in it, then that is a big difference that is in between. So I would say to all the ladies out there who are doing great jobs and doing great things, I have loads of lady friends because of the simple fact that I have 4 girls. And when you have 4 girls, you people, women will naturally gravitate towards you. How you coping with them? How you doing this? And 3 of them are adults already. So how you doing this? How you been able to cope? Their teenage years and yes, you will cope. You will be able to cope. And just the thing is that teach them the simple basics. For you to do something extraordinary, you just need to do a little bit extra from the ordinary you are doing.
Yeah.
That's what makes it extraordinary.
All right. Thank you very much.
Have a beautiful, beautiful afternoon, ladies.
All right. Thank you
Sebastian.
very, very much, Sebastian. Ladies, I believe we're going to be wrapping this up right here, right now. It's been a very, very informative session, just talking about equity, talking about equality, above all, talking about inclusivity. And we all have a role to play when it comes to embracing equity. Remember, I explained that at the very beginning that equity and equality are not the same, but they are absolutely necessary if we are trying to promote inclusivity. And with equality, it's all about equal opportunity, access to equal opportunity. But with equity, it's identifying the needs of people and addressing those needs in order to promote or create equal outcome. So it's you taking a step further from just equality into identifying specifically what the individual may need compared to the others and addressing those needs in order to promote equal outcome. And there's so many ways that we can embrace equity and equality in our society. One that we did mention is eliminating those subconscious biases, because whether or not we like it, this is something, unfortunately, that we were groomed or trained with based on how we either were treated in our background, in our family, where with Ms. Uche, you had mentioned how, you were brought up and you're trying to train your kids differently, letting them know that both boy, girl, you can do anything. You can do the house chores. You can cook, you can clean. You don't have to be just a woman or a female to be able to do that. So just eliminating those subconscious biases and how we treat our fellow women, how men treat women, and even how women treat men as well.
Yes.
Another thing, particularly in the workplace, is for us to promote diversity in the workplace. Another is to offer flexible working arrangements, especially identifying, in terms of equity, the uniqueness of a woman in the workplace. The fact that she has some biological differences from a man does not make her any less competent. And Kel, you mentioned specifically that you should value competence. Right? At the end of the day, you're paying the individual for competence. You're paying the individual for value. You're paying the individual for productivity. And that should really be the focus. And identifying, and bringing into for equity, especially in the workplace. Another way we could embrace that is to offer developmental opportunities for individuals to develop. Because like I mentioned, equity, you're identifying the areas of differences. Now, you might have individuals working in a particular group or working in a particular department, and based on their educational history, they might not be on the same level, but yes, in the same department. But identifying that person A may not necessarily have had access to such the type of information or the quality of information that person B had based on their family backgrounds. Now that this individual is part of your organization, you're identifying that to create equity and giving them both the opportunities to thrive, you would identify, what are the gaps that this individual is facing based on their background. Let's help out, with those training courses, and the list goes on and on. So these are some areas that we can enable equity in the work environment. Ladies, thank you so much. Kel, always a pleasure. And Mrs. Uche, thank you very much. Before saying goodbye, any last words to those that are listening? Mrs. Uche, starting with you.
Leo, thank you very much. What I'm going to try to say now, all men, women, we are the same. In office, take the way you are treating a man, the way you are treating a woman, be the same. In a home, the way you are treating woman, man, be the same. Don't differentiate it. This is a man, this is a woman. Even in the business we are doing, don't say that he's a man, he's a woman, she's a woman. You can do this, no, you cannot do this. Let them be the same, so that will not be affecting an organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Uche. Kel, what about you?
Don't judge people
based
off of their gender. Judge them based off of who they are. Judge them based off of what they bring to the table. And all in all, treat people how you would want to be treated as an individual. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. There you have it. It is International Women's Day, and this year's theme is Embrace Equity. Thank you very much for being a part of this year's International Women's Day Radio Dialogue. My name is Ifunanya. You can reach out to me on Instagram and on Twitter at Ifi_I. Follow Lagos Talks across all social media platforms at Lagos Talks 913. Coming up next is your favorite talk show with your favorite ladies. It's called The Dish. Let's take a look at what is happening around the world, and it's going to be our International Women's Day special. Stick around.